One-handed catch. Oh, he's got it!
Welcome to the cockpit. My name is Ryan, and I was having a snack of some Triscuits, jalapeno flavored. But I am oh so excited to talk to you, boys and girls, about the New York Jets and Zach Wilson going off on the Houston Texans. I want to hear from you guys if you guys are excited about it, if you guys are a little upset about it because you were hoping for the tank. Got a whole lot to go into. Little different tonight. Little 9 o'clock to either 10 or 11 o'clock. I've been streaming since like a little bit before 6, so I'm exhausted. If you guys did not catch me over on the AFC East roundtable, I was over there with Richie and the boys. And then tonight, we launched our first show. 3 and Out was our show. Do I have it queued up? I think I got it queued up. I'll show you guys a little promo of the 3 and Out trailer. You guys could go over there, hit the like button. It's pinned in the live chat. And if you say Jets Talk sent you, if you subscribe to the channel, say Jets Talk sent you, you'll qualify yourself for a t-shirt giveaway or some type of giveaway at the end of this stream. But it helps build that a little bit. I think we're sitting around 800 subscribers or so, trying to get that up over 1,000. Hopefully get a little more Jets representation over there. It was a lot of fun having that little panel together. So here is the promo for it. Welcome to 3 and Out, the interactive NFL game show where viewers like you get to decide which of your favorite content creators get benched and which ones move on in the ultimate competition. All right, so that was our little promo video. 3 and Out. You guys take a look at it over there. Before we get into this, a little too far, I want to talk about our sponsor of the channel. You guys have seen it if you watch any of my more recent videos. SKG Tax. December is here. That means tax season is set to kick off, and it's time to draft an all-pro CPA to create your tax savings playbook. The IRS has instant replay, and when they throw a challenge flag, they charge penalties, fines, and interest that'll put you behind the sticks. Don't let the IRS sack your bank account. Hire JR the Tax Czar and drive yourself or your business down the field for a tax savings touchdown. Best thing about SKG Tax is JR is a Jet fan and a loyal watcher of Talkin' Jets and the Jets Talk 24/7. So if you want to support someone that has a vested interest in our team, misery loves company. Head over and say hi to JR over at SKG Tax. Boys and girls, I want to get into your thoughts and comments from yesterday's game. I want to, let's go, we'll do this a little differently. We'll talk to the chat. I shouldn't say a little differently. I do this the same every week. Gonna talk to the chat for about, we'll go 20 minutes. And then we'll hop in, throw the phone lines up. Phone lines, not really a phone line, but you'll see Nightbot spitting out the link in the chat. All you gotta do is click on that. It's a video call. You don't have to show your face. If you don't want to, you can have it black or whatever. But that's how we're gonna do it. So here's Jake. He says, question, what's the phone number that we're using to call in? All you gotta do is, let me see. I have that QR code somewhere here. Let's do this. Bring this over here. Do a little copy-paste action, right? Boom. Scan the QR code. That's going to be the call-in number when we do go live. It's going to be 9:30 is what we'll do when we start doing phone calls. I want to hear your thoughts. You guys are going to get 2 minutes on the clock. After 2 minutes...
That's it! You're out of here!
That's right. You get the chicken. Like you deserve it. Dakota hops in and says, gangrene victory. Feels good to be a victory Monday, right? Don't normally get a lot of those. Feels good. Feels good. Jingle Dubs was like, 15 more minutes. Come on, Ryan. It's not like you. What do you have, kids or something? Oh, no. You know what happened? Just before the stream, I realized I didn't set up the stream to push to Facebook as well. So if you guys aren't liking it on Facebook too, if you're over there, you can follow Jets Talk 24/7. But I needed to set it so it was 10 minutes in the future. But I just started the stream earlier. I just had to do it that way. It's all right. Jake B says, valid hype intro. Thank you. Thank you. Justin, what's good, my friend? Nice to have you in here. Aurora says, excited. I think this team needed the win. We needed it in the worst way. There's just so much going on in the locker room, and just you couldn't have ended the season on a 10-game skid. And hopefully this, maybe steers the ship a little bit better for us. Jingle Dubs says, as a Zach non-truther, it was nice to see Zach play the way he did. I agree. I think it was nice to at least watch some competent football. And it's super frustrating to watch what he did, because that's exactly why we drafted him number 2 overall. That's what happens when wide receivers don't drop passes. That's what happens when we don't have, crazy penalties. We did have some penalties, but they weren't like drive killers like we've seen in the past. That's what happens when friggin' offensive line blocks a little bit better. Mekhi Becton still probably a little hobbled from that high ankle sprain that he suffered, I think it was 2 weeks ago now. Look, Zach lives to fight another day. How many times have we, I guess we can't say we've had many games like this from Zach, but we've seen him give us that little glimmer of hope and then come crashing back down to earth. So hopefully he can be a little more consistent. I feel like consistency is going to be key here tonight, this week. Justin says, I can't wait to see one Jets drive this week. Yeah, I'm excited. Curious to see how it's going to go, how they'll spin it. Big T Charlie said it was a great show. Thank you. The 3 and Out was a lot of fun. Enjoyed it. If you guys haven't checked it out, go check it out. Support your bro. So support your boy. Logan says, I think he loves squares. Maybe. Nice. I like squares too. Jets Fuel says, so do we keep Zach? I vote yes. So Zach Wilson, has he done enough to save himself for next year? Robert Saleh had a press conference earlier today that didn't necessarily send a glowing endorsement. It was I believe the comment that was said was, I leave the, private conversations private. Normally, if you had didn't have those conversations, you would just shoot it down entirely. And I think the fact that he didn't shoot it down is a fact that it probably did happen. And then what sucks is if Zach does turn it around, it's in spite of us. We're going to look like we have the biggest egg on our face in the world if we let this kid go and he winds up having success elsewhere. Now, is it likely? I don't know. We've got 3 years of proof and tape on this kid. But if we get 4 more games like that, he ain't going anywhere. He'll be quarterback 3, fighting for quarterback 2. They'll pitch it if he does come back as a competition. But look, at the very least, if you don't want Zach back, you could say he played well enough to get us a better draft pick. And if you do want Zach back, then you're going to be rooting for him. So either way, the whole fan base should be in on supporting Zach Wilson. Dakota says, King Henry at quarterback for the Titans on the touchdown was easily predicted in Classic. Why send 2 messages there? Just send 1. It's okay. No, I'm kidding. Jingle Dub says, let's see if Zach can ball out the rest of the season. He needs to convince me this wasn't a fluke. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm in a holding formation. Super excited with how he played. Thought he played really well. But I'm going to wait and see if he can do it again. Jerome says, Woody just extended Saleh for 10 years, $700 million. Could you imagine? Did you hear what the structure of that contract was for Ohtani? Wild. He's going to get paid $2 million a year for the next 10 years. And then the year after that contract ends, is it $680 million? Is that the math right? Yeah, I think it's like $680 million. So depending on where he lives, let's say he lives in Florida at the time that bonus is paid out, or the time that contract's paid out, he doesn't pay any of those California taxes. At least that's my understanding of it. He'll still pay the federal stuff and all that jazz, but man, wild. Absolutely wild. Kelvin, what's up, dude? He says, yo, let's give Saleh his dues, plus to bring all Jet Nation together. It's a win-win situation. If we keep winning and Zach does well, because we'll get a better draft pick for him. Yeah, look, There's no downside to Zach playing well other than like, okay, I was really high on the tank. I really wanted Marvin Harrison Jr. You know, I hope we get a good pick for Zach if we're going to trade him, because we wound up trading Zach for like a 6th-round pick and we allowed him to just win as many games at the end. Like that, there's no value in that to me. I don't want to trade him for like scraps. I would say a 4th-round pick is the lowest I would want to get for him, which, you know, other teams might scoff at and be like, oh, you got to be kidding me. We're not giving up a 4th for what we've seen from him overall. But I think as quarterback 3, I think he's more valuable here. Justin says, how do you feel on the fans that are upset about the win? Me personally, I'm glad we won. I hope we win every game we play. I don't think this team is necessarily one player away from, major success. I mean, I do think getting Aaron Rodgers back and having him in the fold, but we have so much money and we still have, we're going to have good draft capital. I do think we are going to wind up picking in the top 10. I don't think we're good enough to pick outside of there yet. Look, I'll be honest. I was happy. I was excited for the win. I won't pretend that I was like super jazzed. More of a numb feeling, like across the board. Would have been totally fine with a loss. But honestly, the way we won it, with Zach playing the way he did, and with Breece scoring a touchdown, and with Ruckert balling out, I thought that was a good way to win. There's bad wins in my book, and that was not one of them. A bad win would be, winning a game with Joe Flacco and Frank Gore, and these guys aren't going to be on the team for very long. So that's when I would get frustrated. Like if we won a game with Tim Boyle or Trevor Siemian or something along those lines, and it was like, okay, these guys are clearly not the future, that's a wasted win, in my opinion. But this team's going to be together. A lot of these kids are going to be back next year. So get them feeling, at least some sort of confidence going into next year. At the very least, it makes me feel like this offense, when everyone just plays the way they should play, is going to be really friggin' tough to beat. We got a good team. Just got to figure out the quarterback situation and the, straighten it all out. Tyson says Wilson is trash. I hate him. Wow. Tell me how you really feel. Logan says, imagine Jets win rest of our games. We sneak into the playoffs. A-Rod leads us to a Super Bowl. Yes, I'm talking about this year. We got what? If we win every game the rest of the way out, we have an 11% chance of getting into the playoffs. I think right now we're sitting at is it a 0.4% chance? I think it's a 0.4. We went from 0.1% chance to 0.4% chance right now because they don't believe we're going to win every game, because we obviously have to beat Miami. But if you win every game, we need so much help, it's still just an 11% chance. But you know what? You're saying there's a chance. Billy SBC comes in and says, it's up to the Jets. They don't have to trade him, but chances are they will. If the relationship is so cooked, I think they are going to trade him. I would be crushed if he winds up doing well, though, and I'm going to be so friggin' mad at this team if that's what winds up happening. If we just let a good quarterback walk out the door. Not that he's been good so far, but if he turns into a good quarterback and we developed him and we had to sit through the shit for the first 3 years, I'll be frosted. Harlan says, Packers just turned the ball over, fumble by Love. Yeah, you know what? Let's do this. Let's go to the phones now, because I think I'm probably going to go and do a little football watching at 10 o'clock as opposed to the 11 o'clock hour. So let's go over here. Let's go to the phones. We're going to get our first guest on the line. You guys know him. Charles Gorman. How you doing tonight, brother? Oh, hold on. Nope, that's not the one I wanted. Mulligan, hold on. And where'd you go? What am I doing here? Boom, Charles, how you doing, brother?
Good, Ryan. How are you, buddy?
I'm hanging in there. I was really happy with what we saw yesterday.
Yes, it was. I actually watched the second half. I fell asleep during the first half because, I don't know, I was just exhausted. But anyway, I watched the second half. Zach Wilson played great, man. I'm happy for the young man. He deserved it. And I have to say what James said on Richie's stream. Where's this been all year? All we've been asking for is a competent offense. Not just a great offense, but a competent offense. And I think Hackett finally grew a pair. And he finally uncuffed Zach and let him cut loose. and showing. Okay, never mind. I was
What?
going to say something stupid. I was
Nah,
going to
say
say
something
it
stupid.
just
I'm cool with it.
and show him just how powerful he really is, and just. Anyway, with all seriousness, I'm happy for the young man. Um, the defense played great. I mean, I hope C.J. Stroud is okay because I really like him as a quarterback. Um, Hopefully the concussion isn't too bad. And as for the game between the Dolphins and the Titans just tied the game with a Derrick Henry touchdown.
Oh,
So
nice.
honestly, I'm more paying attention to the Packers and Giants games. I really want to see what damn it, Tommy DeVito. We keep
Sorry, I'm
calling him
sure you're
Danny
not the
DeVito.
only person that's done that. I've done it like half a dozen times already.
Tommy DeVito. Well, and from what I've heard, he's playing very well in this game, which doesn't surprise me because the kid is very talented. So, and in my opinion, Brian Dable's a good coach.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, have a good day, Ryan. Also, you did a
Take it
great job at the
easy,
game.
Charles. You've been ejected.
That's it. You're out of here.
All right, we'll get back to the phone calls in just a minute. We got Lucky Leo hopping in with a super chat. Says Hill with an ankle injury. Let's go. I don't root for injury, and I really don't root for injury against Miami because their fan base is so fucking brutal that it's going to be miserable. And if they lose the game, it'll be because Tyreek Hill was hobbled. It wasn't because we could shut him down. I want everyone at full strength for that game, even though we don't have our starting quarterback. That's what I want. I don't want any excuses from that Miami mammal, whatever the hell they are over there. All right. Let's go to Mike the barber. Mike, how you doing tonight? Let's go to Mike the barber. Mike, how you doing?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hanging in there. I'm getting.
I was really happy to see Zach play. I
Boo, Mike the barber! I'm ejecting you. Pay attention. Come on. Don't have your audio. I'm getting feedback through, so I'm hearing myself and yourself twice. And come on. Make sure you mute your audio. Let's go over to Jake. Jake, how you doing tonight?
Hi, I'm doing really good. I just want to say that Zach Wilson's win has been bringing back the TikTok community of Jets fans. Like I'm Sauce Law on TikTok, Ranger City on TikTok. A lot of people editing that are just really not, not really like they're not really what's the word for it? Not really giving enough credit for it. You know, their fan base is just so well like rounded. You know what I'm saying? Like our fan base is just so dedicated to every single person. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, you agree with me, Ryan, right? Our fan base is one of the best. Like
I
there's so
love
many.
our fan base. We wind up holding on to players too long for guys that maybe shouldn't be held on to that long.
I agree with you so much. Zach Wilson, I think is gonna be like Steve Young. Steve Young was a BYU quarterback, got traded because everyone thought he was a bust. Then look what he is now, Hall of Fame QB. If Zach Wilson had a good O line, he would be damn good right now. If you look at the and the um and the game we just played against the Texans, our offensive line stepped up. And what do you know? Zach Wilson actually just throwing dots. In BYU, he had an amazing offensive line. He's missing that in the Jets, and that's really what's screwing up his career.
So do you think we see anything more from Zach, like for the rest of the year, or do you think this is like the best we're going to get from him?
I think we're going to see more from Zach. I mean, it all depends because, like, if we lose against Miami, like if we beat Miami, we'll see more from Zach. Aaron Rodgers will play, take us to the playoffs. Boom. If if we lose against Miami, I think all the Jets fans should show up to MetLife, go to the coin toss, make it packed, and then walk the fuck out of there as a disrespect sign. And Robert Sala should be fired.
Brother, thank you so much for the call.
That's it.
You've
You're
been
outta
ejected
here.
from the cockpit. Having a little bit of liquid courage. That's all right. No issues there. All right, let's go over to Laisel. Laisel, how you doing tonight, brother?
Hello?
I got you, Laisel. What's going on?
Okay. Sorry, I was out of the thing. I'm watching the Miami Dolphins game. I want to see them
That's
lose.
all right.
So you know what I mean.
No issues.
So main thing I want to talk about, Zach wasn't playing a phenomenal game. I'm not gonna put that past him. He played a phenomenal game that game yesterday. But here's the thing, though. If we want to keep Zach Wilson, and I know a lot of people right now they want to because we have like mood swings. New York has mood swings. One day we want to keep somebody, another day we want to keep, another day we want him to go. So you know what I mean. So I understand.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is we gotta have a competition with them. That's why I want to get a young quarterback. That's why I want to draft a quarterback because I want to see some competition. I don't want him to get the job like all right. Like I don't want him to just get the job. I want him to fight for it. I want him to fight for it. Because
Now,
then
do you want him to
know,
fight for
okay,
the backup job, or do you want him to fight for like a young quarterback's job? Because if we draft the quarterback early, then you're kind of saying, all right, Zach's not the guy because we have this new guy under contract for like 4 or 5 years, depending on what round you get him in.
Well, before I wanted us to get him in the second round or third round.
Okay.
I wanted to because I feel like the quarterback class this year is very, very deep, and there's a lot of good quarterbacks that you could probably get in the second round or third round.
So we'd have to trade and get a second round pick because right now we only have a first and a third, and then
that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm hoping for. If you do have an early pick, trade back and get a second rounder. But you see what I'm getting at, right? I just like, and it's not about Aaron Rodgers now. I mean, when Aaron Rodgers retires, we get the young quarterback with Zach Wilson. They compete for the starting job. And then whoever comes out of it, you know that you're getting the best out of them because they fought for that job. They fought for it. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Laisel, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. So he wants to see a competition. He wants to see a young guy come in here, compete with Zach Wilson. Interesting. I do want to see some competition here. I really do. All right. Let's hop over to Joe, your Atlanta Jets fan. How you doing tonight?
Good. Victory Monday. How are you doing today?
I'm hanging in there.
Well,
it's been a rough go of it up until this past, week. Felt good watching a win.
Yeah, it definitely felt great seeing us finally get up by 2 touchdowns. When I seen that, I instantly tweeted, "We're up 14 points. Game over. Just wrap this game. There's no way in the world the defense is going to let us lose this game. Like, we're up.
No shot.
Okay, yeah, it's over with. Yeah, Zach Wilson played phenomenal, like I knew he could. I wish we'd have played him last week. I was up there last week. He definitely would have. It was painful to watch in person because I was at the 100. Like I was right there in the end zone, so I could see when Garrett Wilson did the double move and he was just wide open and Tim Boyd and passing the ball. I was like, wow, that's crazy. So it was tough to watch in person, but I'm glad I went. That was my first Jets game.
That's still fun. I mean, what do you think? Do you think we're going to see more of Zach? Like, what do you think the end
I think
game thing is for Zach?
Long as the offensive line plays that way, long as the pocket stays clean, he's going to be able to have time to actually think things through. I seen a lot of he hit Brees Hall in the flats a lot. He made a lot of off-timely throws with the back shoulder throws. He did to Garrett and he did to Tyler Conklin like 2 or 3 times. He played lights out all together, and I'm extremely happy for him. Like we would definitely see more from him. I think we should keep him instead of drafting a quarterback because he has all the bells and whistles. He just need to be developed more. Why would we go out and leave him? Like we go trade him or whatnot, and we go bring in a young guy where we could just pretty much pour into him. So that's how I feel about it.
Boom, Joe, I love you. Good thoughts. So he wants to keep Zach Wilson. I tend to agree. I think Zach Wilson is better as a quarterback 3, quarterback 2. I would rather trade Zach Wilson. I guess it depends what you can get for him. If he balls out and they're like, hey, we'll give you a second round pick, then I think you probably take that and run. But I'll be honest, if you need to have a backup quarterback in a season you want to win, a guy that's been through the offense and was able to do what he just did, I don't know, man. It's going to be kind of hard to turn away from that. Pedro comes in with Super Chat, says, last week I asked, what do I do with my Zach jersey? I'll ask again this week. Pedro, put it on, wear it with pride. Wear with pride. Ooh, I know someone who's going to be wearing his jersey with pride. We've got Jet Fuel. Jet Fuel, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. How are you?
Hanging in there. It's definitely nice to get a win.
So I got a question for you. Everyone's
Sure.
saying Drake May is quarterback number 2 in the draft. I
Yep.
started watching some film on him, and
Mhm.
to me, he looks like a bigger version of Zach. So
You're
why?
saying Drake May?
Yeah,
Hmm.
he looks like a bigger version of Zach Wilson, in my opinion.
Interesting.
So
So I don't love the top 2 quarterbacks in this class. I very much would trade out if the Jets somehow wound up, that high. I don't think it's going to happen at this point. But what do you want to see the Jets do?
So, in my opinion, I think we should keep Zach because the original game plan was 2 years behind Aaron. Aaron got hurt 4 plays into the season, as we all know. So, we still have Zach under contract, which is, I believe, is a $10 million hit to us for the salary cap. So, why we gonna
Yep.
go pay another $5 million for a quarterback, take the $10 million hit? Um, we can draft one later on in the draft, like fifth round, sixth round, give Zach some competition.
Mhm.
But with the first round, I say we definitely go best tackle available.
Mhm.
Build the offensive line. Don't trade for like what's his name? That
Devontae Adams.
yeah, Devon. Don't use the first and trade Devontae Adams. You popped your balloon. Okay, I'll be right there, baby. Sorry.
No,
um,
the balloon.
but don't trade for like Devontae Adams. You go after somebody like Mike Evans in free agency and build
Mhm.
the offensive line.
I love that. I'm a big non-Devontae Adams acquisition fan. I don't want to trade stuff. If you want to convince me into trading down with the Raiders and acquiring Devontae Adams that way, I'm cool with that. But now the Jets and Raiders are like neck and neck with the draft picks. Jet Fuel, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected
You're
from the
out of
cockpit.
here!
All right, we've got Mike, the barber, calling in. Mike, how you doing tonight?
JETS, 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 Jets.
There we
It
go.
feels good, right?
Right? It feels good to have a win. I actually enjoyed watching football yesterday.
I'm okay with the win or loss. Are you?
Sure. Yeah, look, I would have been good either way. I very much want to see wins because it tells me at least this offense can win. Like from a structural standpoint, like Hackett can call a game where we are worthy of winning that game. Now, a lot of it had to do with Zach. Zach being able to run around and create plays with his feet, that helped us win. Obviously we had guys running open in other games and stuff, but I love what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, he's flourishing his talent. I really want to keep the kid more for the future. I mean, he's the best backup quarterback in the league. He seems like he's kind of getting it at this point. I really liked his upside. There's nobody
Dude,
else that could
imagine.
beat.
I don't know if I'd call him the best backup quarterback in the league. I think. Think about how many fans were upset that we didn't have a stronger backup quarterback. But right now, if he could play that way, he would easily be the best backup quarterback. I think.
Look at just his upside. He could just. I don't think he's that far away from really kind of taking off here.
That's what I feel like. Like, how much would it suck to develop this kid for 3 friggin' years, and then you trade him to, we're gonna send him to the Vikings or something stupid like that, and it's gonna be like, wow, a franchise quarterback in Minnesota, and the Jets just gave him away for like a 4th round pick. That's what it feels like we're coming to. Like, to me, the losing with Zach feels more like a coaching issue than it does a Zach issue, which is weird to say because of how he played the first 2 years. I think this 3rd year is making me feel a little more. I don't think Zach is one of the top 3 options as to why we lost this season. I think he's somewhere around 4 or 5.
Aaron is his best coach.
Absolutely. I would love to see him actually get to watch Aaron sling the rock. Mike the Barber, you've been ejected from the cockpit. All right, let's go over to Luke. Luke, how you doing, dude?
Oh, what up? How you
How
doing?
you feeling about yesterday's win?
Dude, I'm feeling fucking great, man. Holy shit. That was Zach Wilson played his best game since the Chiefs. In my opinion, we should have won that game. That was bullshit that we didn't lose it. And
Oh, dude,
holy
it's
shit.
all the refs.
Listen, and Mahomes is being a bitch about saying, oh, they should have let them play it out. Where was that versus the Jets? Where was that missed
no,
pass?
he'll cry and moan and try to get to the refs because his guy lined up offsides.
Hey, well, listen. First off, I gotta say one thing. MetLife is an absolute disgrace. Like, it's a literal giant air conditioner that probably the most passionate fans in the entire league have to deal with week in and week out. It's just a terrible stadium. It's not fun to go to. Also, what's it called? For us to trade Zach Wilson, like, that doesn't make any sense. If he continues to play like this, why not keep him after Rodgers? I don't see anything in Jaden Daniels, in my opinion. He just looks like, no offense, he looks like Drake May, a clone of him. Just goes to LSU. Drake May is not good. He looks like Mr. Trubisky. Caleb Williams has an ego issue where he wants ownership of a team. Like, what? Who wants ownership of a team when you're a new player drafted to him? And plus, Michael Penix doesn't look like anything special. He looks like Hendon Hooker, but a lefty. He doesn't look good.
He scares me because of his injury history. Penix.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, he seems like a great guy and all. It's just, does that translate to the NFL when you're playing for a loaded Pac-12 team? So, in my opinion, if we were to take someone, you could take Jordan Travis very late round because he's shown that he's gotten better every single year in and year out. That's a steal in the late round to get a guy like him. So, that's just my general thought.
I would love to get him in the 3rd or 4th round. He broke his ankle or whatever. So if you can wind up snagging him, and then maybe you get wide receiver help or offensive line help in the very beginning, I very much I would love to hold on to Zach. I think his upside as quarterback, 2-3 is significantly higher than anyone we're going to add in here in the offseason. Luke, thank you so much for the call. Been ejected from the cockpit. All right. Let's head over to Michael. Michael, how you doing tonight, dude?
Hey, what's going on?
Hanging in there. How you feeling about yesterday's win?
Hey, it's a pretty good win. I like any weekend when the Jets win. Hey, I have a real quick question. This is going back to the off season. Do you think with Aaron Rodgers being in there, the front runner, having the team 1 drills and everything, do you think when Zach Wilson was running the team 2 drills and Xavier Gibson was playing in the team 2 drills, do you think that was a good reinsurance, like chemistry between Zach Wilson and Xavier Gibson? I think Brownlee was in there too. Do you think that was a good reinsurance for Xavier Gibson? I haven't seen him really talked much. Like me and my uncle was talking, was like if Aaron Rodgers was in team 1 with I think he had like Garrett Wilson and Randall Cobb and Lazard. Do you think if in terms that Aaron Rodgers' injury never happened, do you think that Zach Wilson would have built a chemistry with Xavier Gibson? So when he does take the reins, do you think it would have been wide receiver 2 and Garrett Wilson 1?
I see exactly what you're saying. And the answer is yes. I think there's chemistry that was built up over training camp because Zach looked good in training camp. I went to every public one that I could go to except for maybe one of them. And Zach looked good. It was impressive watching him throw. But again, it was like, okay, he can't get hit. What is he going to be like under pressure? But him having that connection with Xavier Gibson, with Jeremy Ruckert, with Brownlee, all these guys that were not seeing the starting reps were incredibly valuable, especially the offensive linemen. I mean, look at all the backup linemen that are playing right now. Like Zach at least had some opportunity to play behind him to some degree.
Did Tittman play in the season with Zach?
So Tittman was like 2nd, 3rd string for a while. Where there was like all these like drama rumors, like did the Jets draft a bust? And then we remember Mekhi Becton was a backup to start in training camp too. We had Billy Turner as a starter, and we had I don't remember who the other one was. Billy Turner and Dwayne Brown. No, Dwayne Brown wasn't it. Who was the other one? There was someone else. I don't know. But yes, I do agree. I think the chemistry that was built on the backup squad is kind of what we're seeing a little bit of right now. Mike, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. All right, we've got another Mike on the line.
Oh, shut up!
What's up, Mike? Yeah, good for you. Hopefully he finished it. I should have kept him on the screen to make him finish it. That would have been nice. Billy SBC comes in, or no, sorry, it's Harlan talking to Billy SBC. Says, remember when Parcells hugged Flutie in the locker room, and when Flutie screamed, he knew his ribs were still cracked and didn't play him. I did not know that. That's interesting, though. The Highlander Prime says, Zach Wilson, if he keeps playing like this, he's not a backup. He's a starter. Fans have to stop underselling his potential. Well, I think he's definitely capable of being a starter. He was drafted number 2 overall for a reason, but I think at the same time, if he's not going to perform up to that level consistently, like if this is what we get as Zach's peak, but he's only going to do it once in every 10 games, he's a backup. Now, if he's going to continue playing like this, like if we have 4 more games of Zach Wilson playing like this, he's quarterback 2, he's sitting behind Rodgers, and then we're going to try and figure out something after next offseason. I would love to link him up with the Jordan Love type contract. Maybe there's enough potential there. Keep him for an extra year. It'd be nice. I mean, heck, just last week we were talking about this guy's gone. Who knows? Jack Goomba says, yes, it is. I don't know if he is even a backup. No consistency guaranteed. He has not been consistent, and that's been his biggest knock. So going to be a tall task to see if he could do it against Miami. If he can do what he did to the Texans, and duplicate that against the Fins, I would love to see them get smacked around. Big Green says, you seeing this Dolphins game, they're getting messed up. Wait till we play them. So I'm not watching the Miami game right now, but I do know they got hurt. Like a lot of players got hurt in tonight's game. I guess it's good we're catching them on a little bit of a short week. I don't know. We'll see. I want to smack them around, though. There's no team I want to beat more than the Dolphins. Billy SBC says, if the Jets get destroyed on Sunday against the Dolphins, all these fans will want Zach gone on the next flight out of here. What QB wants that? So I don't know. It really depends on how Zach plays. If Zach shits the bed and he's the reason we lost, then yeah, I think fans will turn on him again. I'll be like, well, there he goes. That's exactly what you got from him the first 3 years, the first 2.5 years. You just get what you expect at this point. Now, as far as if the Jets lose because, let's say Xavier Gibson fumbles the ball and Miami winds up winning, but Zach has a decent game, fans will still be in Zach's corner. I don't think we necessarily have to win against Miami as long as Zach looks good. That's really where I'm trying to identify the most in terms of our offense. Like I'm looking at the offensive line a little bit, seeing who I do like. I mean, for the most part, I know it's Tippmann, it's AVT. Laken Tomlinson, I think, is going to be back next year. I don't see them cutting him to save the cap space when he's been your most healthy offensive lineman to date. I'm going to keep an eye on Becton. Hopefully he plays a little bit better. I don't think he's primed for the contract he wants based on how he has performed so far. I think it's been a little underwhelming. John, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, what will the mood be if we upset the Dolphins? Yo, if we upset the Dolphins, I'm going to get rowdy as shit. I'm going to get so loud. I'm going to go off on Dudley Do-Wrong. I'm going to go off on TD Finn's talk. The AFC roundtable is going to be legit. If we beat the Dolphins, Jet fans are going to go nuts. Miami fans, you know what's going to happen? They're going to say, well, we didn't have Tyreek Hill and Austin Jackson got hurt and Mostert's not 100% and we can't play during the second full moon of a month and that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. If we upset the Dolphins, it's going to be all about the bullshit. Jonathan Moore comes in and says, can we stop this Zach Wilson talk? One game, Jonathan Moore. Come on. Live in this delusional world that I'm living in right now for just a little bit. Just a little bit. Talk about it next week. All right. Let's go over to Smokey. Smokey, how you doing tonight, dude?
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Not too much. How you feeling about our Jets?
Me and actually Mutt Viles were talking about this earlier, and I was thinking, let's go ahead and go to 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of CJ Mosley. We save I think if we cut him, it's like a $10 million cap hit.
Yeah. I don't know. For a championship run, I would love to restructure Mosley. I would rather have Mosley for 2 years than cut him and eat have to fill another gap. Unless they really like Surratt or,
But couldn't you either sign another middle linebacker that is, say, more proven, or say move someone that has played middle linebacker or linebacker in general, as in Will McDonald, put him at linebacker and then get another edge?
Interesting. Will McDonald, I don't see him in our particular style of defense. I feel like you have to. I don't know. I see him primarily as just a situational pass rusher until he like develops his pass rush moves. I would love to see Mosley come back. I want to retain this defense. This defense has been so good. If you wind up cutting your, your top defensive captain, I'd be a little frustrated. Maybe he'll take a pay cut. That would be pretty nice. I think you have to restructure him at the very least.
But would he though? But would he take the pay cut for the team?
I think he would restructure, which doesn't cause him to lose any money, but it frees up a ton of money for us. And then since the salary cap continues to increase, we'd have a cap hit in the future that wouldn't be necessarily great. But I think you can convert this year. Let's say it's 20. I think it's a $21 million cap hit. If he was set to get $17 million or whatever, maybe you give him $20 million total over the course of the next 2 years, and he might be more inclined to do that because I don't know if he's going to get a massive contract from anyone else. Interesting thoughts, though. What would you do to replace him? Like, do you have a linebacker in mind?
I mean, you can go the cheaper route, go Bobby Wagner, a little bit faster, a little bit wiser. And then,
do you think he's going to come out this way? He's been a West Coast guy his whole career.
Money talks. Money talks.
But we're already paying CJ Mosley. Man, I don't know. I'm in a conundrum. I would like to retain CJ Mosley. I think he hasn't been like bad at all. Like if he fell off a cliff this year, I'd probably be a little more inclined to do that. But it feels
but
like
he's
we can get,
but he's also
as
injured.
Good as he could be.
He's also injury prone as well. If we remember last year, he got banged up really bad. We paid him for nothing. How many games
did he miss last year?
I'm not 100.
I'm gonna pull this up right now because I actually have no idea. I know like his initial seasons with the Jets were not great. He lost opted out and then had the one big injury. So last year he played in. I mean, he was active, and it said he started for 17 games last year. So I'd have to look at snap counts to see if the snap counts are off. Like maybe he was healthy, as in, active right now on the roster and not out of a game. I guess they could put him in, but maybe he was hobbled. I don't know. I like CJ Mosley. I don't really want to lose him. I'll be honest.
Understood.
You're out of here.
Good call, though. Good call. I see where you're heading with it. And I understand people that want to go that route. I don't think that's an unreasonable thing to do. Let's pop over to Zach Wilson Truth. Zach Wilson Truth, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Ryan. I just want to say I'm a huge fan of your channel. I really love the stuff you put out, so keep it up.
Thank you.
I got 3 hot takes for you if you're ready.
Let's go.
So one is I really am a fan of them extending Salah and Douglas.
Okay.
Some things I want to say, I don't like people who are coaching or GMing in a contract year. And so, I just think a lot of really successful organizations, whether it's like the Ravens or the Patriots or the Steelers, they often just commit to people, even if they're not the absolute best. And often they ironically do have the absolute best, right? They just commit to them and they don't have people making rash decisions like you hear about with our draft next year because they're trying to save their job. So I'm a big fan of that.
I think that's a big. So I got into an argument with Green Bean and Matt about this a few panels ago. And I was like, yo, I think if you're going to have Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas go into the final year of their contract, I'd rather extend them for one more season. So at least they're not going into a lame duck year. Because what happens, you wind up balling out, or you have guys trying to save their own jobs. And, to the detriment of the rest of the team. We start giving up the 2025 first or the 2026 first because Douglas thinks, screw it, I'm not going to be here. That's the worst thing that could happen. On top of getting the cap hit from Aaron Rodgers, I told Matt and Green, I was like, I am pulling the 2025 first off the table. No one's allowed to touch that right now. Not if they're going into the final year of their deal.
Yeah, I agree. A couple other things. So I think Zach Wilson's largely a sunk cost at this point, and I actually think there's a lot of merit to watching him develop under Rodgers. I also think it's going to be hard-pressed to find a backup, so I don't know. I'm okay with keeping him on the roster for next year. And then the next hot take is that I think this roster was largely built by the Jamal Adams trade, and one thing that hurts is that we have a lot of premium players at non-premium positions, so it always hurts to think about this team without Breece Hall or without Sauce Gardner. But if somebody's willing to ridiculously overpay for that, I'm a much bigger fan of that than going out and getting some really old players like a Mike Evans, who you're going to regret in a couple of years. Or even like Tyreek Hill. I was pumped we didn't sign Tyreek Hill because I think if you look at what we ended up getting instead of him with that draft capital, we probably would have regretted it. And you think of a guy like Bryce Huff, right? Like if you
We
sign
wouldn't have
Tyreek
known it,
Hill,
right? Because we didn't go after Huff. Let's say we got Tyreek Hill, there's no Garrett Wilson, there's no Brees Hall, there's no Jermaine Johnson. Like that's a huge, and plus a lot less money. So you're probably talking
right?
maybe no you probably
Like
have
a Huff.
Rodgers, I guess,
Or
but yeah.
anyway, huge fan of your channel, man. So keep it up.
Dude, I appreciate it. That was a good call. I like it. Zach Wilson, truther. You come back anytime. John, I'll get to your call in just a second. I just want to see. Pappy says, look at the Finns game. Okay, what's going on with the Finns? Haha! Losing to the Titans like a bunch of scrubs they are at halftime. Couldn't have happened to a better team. All right, let's go over to John. John, how you doing tonight, dude?
I'm doing pretty good. Do you think the Jets should fire Robert Saleh? Because it's been 3 seasons now where there's no offensive line and no good coaching.
I do not want to fire Robert Saleh. I would roll into next season with him. I mean, the only way you do that is if he completely loses the locker room, and I don't think that's actually what's going on. I think this defense is still playing hard for him. Now, if you have to make a decision between him and Zach, and Douglas thinks Zach is legit, but at the end of these 4 games, then maybe there's some sort of conversation. But I think you got to run it back because there's no way you're going to get a better head coach than Robert Saleh for a 1-year period with an aging Aaron Rodgers coming off an Achilles.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
I don't think you're getting a better option, I guess.
But I mean, honestly, I think you just need a hot bowl of dick. Because he's not really.
Boom! All right, I know that ceiling anywhere. Pappy also says, Tyreek Hill is out. Yeah, look, I'm not rooting for injuries for the Dolphins. I very much want to face them at full strength. So I hope Tyreek is good to go. Let's head over to Jedi. Jedi, how you doing tonight, dude?
Oh, my bad, Ryan.
It's all
Sorry.
good. What's going on? How you feeling about our win?
Drinking some wine and stuff like that. I don't know. That's why I was missing. That's why. And as soon as I was going to grab it, you chime me off. So it's all good.
I'm sorry. I gotta do a little more of a lead in. I'm not getting good at that. I'm just some guy hitting buttons on the side.
Nah, I don't blame you. It's no worries. It's all good.
So what do you think happens with Zach? What's the deal with him moving into next year?
I don't know. Like I've seen Zach since BYU. I knew what he was capable of, and he delivered. And I don't know. We've been going through the Gase cases and the Hackett brackets and the whole rigmarole. I don't.
Yes.
Thank God he set himself free, or if it was Aaron, or if it was somebody, it was like how he was. He just let it rip. Had nothing to lose, no cliche or nothing like that. Literally nothing to lose, and then we give him tons of shit, Sorry for cursing, but
dude, no, it's all the time though. I mean, it sucks what we put these young kids through, but at the same time,
and they're kids. That's the whole thing too, man.
He's 24 years old. He had offensive linemen that old in college.
Yeah, and then people give him crap too. Like, all right, yeah, he comes from a wealthy family, but a lot of people don't even know his backstory. Like, he doesn't want anything, nothing. He doesn't. I guess I'm saying it the wrong way. He wants everything to do with his family, but he doesn't want that thing. So when he was going to college, he was doing DoorDash, and that's how he was paying for his rent and things like that. And his mom said some things, and then the country took it a whole nother way, and then it was all that whole thing, and then he's
dude,
milking it up. Don't blame him, but
of course.
He's been through a lot of controversy. He's dealing with New York, and he's dealing with us.
Dude, I'll be honest. The kid's been through trials and tribulations like no other quarterback right now,
and he took it on the chin.
He did, and I don't think he's a bad dude. Like, even the bad press conference he gave last year where he said something along the lines of I don't think I let the defense down. It was like, I think he was trying to get out of that press conference, and he just kind of got stuck, and he said a stupid thing.
Dick Chimney set him up to fail, and then we took the bait too. And I was, I was going home on Zach, and then, I took the hook on that one. I'm not going to deny it. But then I sat back, and I was like, wait, who said it was a dick? Oh, it was that Rick Chimney, wasn't it? Yeah.
Jedi, you've been ejected from the cockpit. We're going to get over to Carson and Tom the Real. First, we're going to go over to John. John comes in and says, what do you think the Super Bowl will be? All right, so my guess right now, it's going to be 49ers on the NFC side. On the AFC side, I think it's going to be the Ravens. I really want to see Lamar Jackson get that ring. And also, that means it's not the Dolphins. I hope the Dolphins get bounced in the first round, honestly. Blitz Crew, what's up, dude? Nice to have you in here. He says, need Hill back for next week. Want Q to remake that stiff arm play again, hoping for just a good game next week. Yeah, I want to see a good game, but I don't want to deal with the bullshit of like, oh, Tyreek Hill is out and you guys beat us without him. We don't have our starting quarterback. We don't have like our starting offensive lineman. Like, I want to hear nothing out of the Dolphins fans if the Jets wind up beating them, even without Tyreek Hill. But I would love for them to be at full strength and me to be like, hey, whoa, guess what? We beat you without our starting quarterback. We beat you with a backup. You scrubs. That's what I want to see. Let's go over to Carson. Carson, how you doing tonight, dude?
What's going on, Ryan? Really quickly, I just kind of want to add, before we get to the Jets, your Ravens 49ers pick, is that stemmed off watching them, or is there something you have that you know that I probably know that not a lot of other people know?
I think San Francisco is legit, and I think Baltimore is legit. But is that
so? Do you know how So do you know how they color coordinate the LVIs or whatever? Yeah,
I've
it's
heard
red.
this.
It's red and purple this year.
So I did not know that. I did hear this at one point, but that was not my my guess. But that's funny.
It could happen too, which is crazy. It could happen too.
It definitely could.
But let's get to the Jets. Let's talk about Zach Wilson first.
Sure.
I kind of want to put this little asterisk on his performance. It was a great performance, but I want to put his asterisk on this performance. Sure. He sees this defense every practice. The DeMeco Ryans defense is the Robert Saleh defense. I mean, they came from the same system. DeMeco was under Robert when he was there. This is the same schematics. So he's practiced against this defense, and what do we get?
But CJ Stroud, the best quarterback in the league, plays against this defense every week. And he got 91 yards.
True, but the Texans' defense is not as good as the Jets.
That's true. Similar concepts, I would think.
So, yeah, it is in terms of like schematics of like the 4-3 defense. So yeah, it is, but the players are much better. In terms of Zach's performance, and winning. By the way, if my Tennessee and the Giants win, we're back to 7 overall in the draft. I just want to put that out there. But we slide right back to 7 where we were. So because everyone else won that was below us.
Right? I think the Raiders
so if Tennessee no, they're still below us because of strength of schedule. They're 8th.
Really? Yeah, but I
think Bears
and
and Raiders are below us.
Yeah, we're 9th, they're 8th, right?
So then if Tennessee and the Giants win, we slide back.
We're saying above at the same time. Like I think we're
we're
saying the same thing, but it's the. So any different feelings now that we're sitting at that draft pick as opposed to like where we were last week?
The way this defense is playing, I don't think we're going to lose to Washington. So I just think that our defense is going to keep us in games. Washington is a weird one. I think they'll win another game at some point. It's just they're not going to beat us, I don't think. At number 5 now, because I remember you said you projected us at number 5 a few weeks ago.
Projected us at number 7.
It's looking really accurate. 4, 5 is
7.
You said 7
was my gut feeling.
But you said you'd like a top 5 pick.
I would love a top 5 pick.
So if we're sitting, 4 or 5 at the end of the year, Marvin Harrison is most likely going to be out. Which pains my heart. May and Williams will probably be gone just because of like the quarterback need. So if that's the way the draft goes, which is quarterback, wide receiver, top 3, one of the tackles is gonna be there. So that, and I know you're high on the tackle. So I like this is a good chance for us. But it's good to see good football though. Good to see. Good football.
I just enjoyed my Sunday for the first time. Carson, you've been ejected. Always good talking to you. All right, let's go over to Mason. Mason, how you doing tonight, dude?
Hey, what's up?
Hanging in there. How'd you feel watching some good football yesterday?
Oh my gosh, it was the best Sunday I've had in weeks.
It's been a long fucking time.
Great. I actually had to take a mental health day after the Falcons game.
Dude, I had to do that after Rodgers went down. I was like, Rodgers went down. I was like, I'm not coming into work. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There's too much shit going on.
I wanted to get your opinion on, because I know what's better for the team would be to get the best draft pick, and deep down, I just keep like run through the playoff picture in my head, and I know there's zero shot of us ever making it, but
11% chance if we win out.
That's what I'm saying. In my mind, I'm like, if we were somehow to win out these 5 games, or Rodgers was come back for the 3, that there's a shot, and I just feel like I can't.
Dude, I think if you asked a poll of the people that are, NFL teams or whatever, and you said, okay, any team can make the playoffs, which team do you not want to see? I would bet the Jets are near the top of that list, especially if we get Aaron Rodgers back. This defense is no joke. 3 safeties in 1 year is outrageous. And look, I'll put your mind at ease, because I know that people want the tank and some people want the draft pick or whatever, but you still got to select the right player. The New York Giants won their final game of the season, missed out on Chase Young, who was deemed the generational prospect at that particular draft, edge rusher. They wound up drafting Andrew Thomas instead with that pick. And guess what? Chase Young no longer in Washington. Andrew Thomas, franchise left tackle. As long as you make the right pick, it doesn't matter what position you got.
Yeah.
So root for wins.
So
that's where I'm at.
Yeah. And it's just like, and it's also just like, it's so frustrating with the whole playoff picture with like everyone with their backup quarterbacks, and it's like with Rodgers,
well, you got fucking Burrow's knocked out, you got Watson knocked out, the Steelers and Pickett is knocked out. If the Jets could have won any games this year, we'd be in the friggin' playoffs. Mason, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit.
That's it. You're out of here.
All right, let's head over to Tom, the Real. Tom, how you doing tonight?
Not bad. Yeah, it was a great Sunday. It was enjoyable to watch for a change. I want to say the earlier talk about Mosley. I think we have shown the ability to coach up amazing players, download the software necessary to make them great players. They just need to bring the hardware. And I think Mosley must be doing something right. Because otherwise,
the linebacker room seems to be doing well. Like Zaire Barnes looks good, Surratt looks good, Quincy Williams looks good. Like linebacker room all of a sudden turned into like a strength for us.
Yeah, I think we're solid. I'm still not sold on Zach. I mean, I've called many weeks, and I'm still not sold on Zach for all the reasons that even his supporters talk about. I'll just leave it at that. I think that. I think Douglas, last time I called, I tried to get into this long-winded theory about Douglas, but I really do trust Douglas. And I think that if you look at this season, just not as a Jets fan, just completely objectively, I mean, we beat some quality teams. It's not it's not like this team completely sucks. And sure, there are some weak spots, in my view. Zach's, but my point is that I really trust. I mean, the talk about Saleh or Douglas going anywhere is ridiculous. They're not going anywhere. This is a long-term plan. I think they have some incredible strategies at play.
Yeah, I very much don't want to see a change in coaching staff. I think Saleh is better than most of the coaches we'd wind up bringing in here anyway. And I think he got saddled with a bad roster thanks to, I shouldn't say a bad roster, but saddled with a bad quarterback room after Rodgers went down because we didn't have anything behind him, whether it be because of the offensive line, whether it be because Zach maybe wasn't ready early on. But I don't know. I want to see Zach back here as quarterback 3 next year. Is that where you're at, or are you kind of hoping that he's gone in the offseason?
Oh, leave it up to Douglas. I just know that I think we're going to have a pipe. It's almost like college. It's like once you have some success, like our D is so good that it's going to draw talent for years to come. And we're going to be really, I think there's a long-term plan at play here. I really do.
I like Douglas. I've been defending him for a long time. I think this year is probably where I've had a little bit wavering in support as we see some of the earlier draft classes maybe not be quite so great. I think Ashton Davis turning it around makes that first draft class look at least a little bit better. But I do like Douglas, and I like the sense that he makes when he makes his selections. Like, I feel like he's still selecting talented players. It's just a matter of like, okay, they get injured. Like, that's not on him. It's not like they're injury prone when he drafts them. Tom, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. All right, let's go over to Mike Lambda. Mike, how you doing tonight?
How's it going, bud?
Dude, I'm hanging in there. I'm just excited to actually see some decent football this past week.
Dude, I know. I've been saying this for God, I don't know how long, but it's like every win that we've had this season has been fucking gut wrenching the entire way. The entire time you're just waiting for the shoe to drop, the game to be lost somehow. And this one game, it just felt like 10 minutes in the fourth quarter, and we're like, all right, I could just
It's over.
I could just
They're
enjoy
not
this.
scoring on this defense. Like, once we scored 14 points, I'm like,
we can cruise.
Feeling pretty good right now.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I mean, I'm in Green Bean's camp here, where it's like I'm tired of rooting for tanks. Like, I just want to watch good football.
Sure.
And I also have a little bit of a tinfoil hat theory going here, where
let's go. I want to hear.
I'm wondering if like the
where's
team
my hat? Hold on, wait.
has just not been.
Nope.
Okay, hold.
All right, let's go. Let's hear
it. All right. So this roster has been not great. Everything about what we have seen over the past like 3 or 4 weeks has been like, there's not a single problem. There's not a single thing that you can point to. The entire team has just been playing like trash. And then all of a sudden, in one half, they're just playing lights out. Where has this been all season?
I have no idea. I feel like it was like, okay, just let Zach cook. And we've been saying it all year. But
and they are such a talented roster. Like, this doesn't just happen. Like they are so talented. It is mind-boggling to me how we have been losing so miserably, and then this shows up, and it's like, I don't know. I'm wondering if they're just like, we're just gonna like tank the season. Rodgers went down. Like, we're not gonna bring in anyone.
Let's get someone good for next year. I don't think the players were like that.
Right,
it sucks because it was like wide receivers dropping passes. It was stupid fucking penalties. It was,
I know.
Bad quarterback play in some of the games, but not all of them. Dude, I don't know. I want to see. We have one of the best rosters in the entire league. Sans the quarterback.
It is wild how we have been so. It's been so demoralizing. Like, we have such a talented roster, and I was so excited for this coming into the season, and it just, the way that we have gone down is just it is
right there with you, Mike. Boom! You've been ejected. You're out of here from the cockpit. All right, let's head over to Joe. Joe, how you doing now?
Yo, what's up?
Hang it in there. How'd you feel actually getting a win yesterday?
That was crazy, dude. Holy,
felt good to see Zach Wilson sling a rock.
We won a game, boys.
Oh, yeah. What do you want to see from Zach the rest of the way out? You think we'll get more of that, or you think we're going to get more of what we've seen prior? Like, maybe the benching solved everything.
After the first game of the season, after Aaron Rodgers had a 75-second season, Zach Wilson was locked in right after that. He was going to win every game after that, but he didn't.
I don't think he's winning every game. He clearly didn't win every game. Do you think he's on this roster next year?
No.
No, you think he's shipped off? What do you think we get for him?
Yeah, we need a new quarterback, fresh start.
Do you think it's going to be a what kind of draft pick are we getting for him? Or are we just cutting him?
No, we gotta trade him. We need.
What do you think we can get? Like, what would other teams look at him? Are they just saying like, okay, the Jets are so incompetent that we're going to give them a draft pick because we believe this kid's not as bad as they have shown he is?
I don't know. Yeah.
Too many questions. Didn't know how to answer. It's okay, Joe. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Appreciate the call. Let's go over to Henry. Henry, how you doing tonight, dude? Volume, my friend. Volume.
Hi, 1 second. Sorry.
That's all right.
So, I wanted to say a few things. Okay, so Zach Wilson, the truthers, I don't know what they're talking about. He had a great game, but we saw this against the Chiefs, and it's happened a few times. What, against the Titans, the Chiefs, where he's
We
had
didn't
these
play the
really good
Titans, but
games,
they had.
but well, like 2 years ago, I'm talking about his rookie season.
Yeah, I got you.
When he had that was one of his best games of his career. And I don't know. I think that so he's 23 touchdowns in 3 seasons or whatever, like 20.
Oh, it's horrible. Now he's
or-
at. I think he's at 26
and
now.
he's
He had
17
3 or 2.
If you just look, he's 17 turnovers this season and 23 touchdowns in 3 seasons. Like, he had a really good game, and I want to run the table, and I think there's, we have a 11% chance.
If we win
But I
out,
don't know.
it's 11% chance. We need so much help in front of us at this point.
And I don't know. I think Zach Wilson play well, but to really think, I don't know, the Dolphins. Even though I think the Dolphins, I can't stand the fans. They
I
haven't
want to
beat
smack
anybody
them
above
around on
500.
Sunday in the worst way. In the worst way.
Wait, say that again.
I want to smack the Dolphins around in the worst way.
I know.
Like more than any other team.
I don't think they're good at all. I think do we have to have other teams lose if we run the table, or is there a way we can just win out?
So right now, I believe I think 2 or 3 of the wild card teams are sitting at 7 wins, 7-5, and the Jets are at 5-7 right now. So we have to win out, and we need other teams to lose multiple games. So it's like I think we need everyone else to lose 2. And
I also want
tiebreakers and shit.
Maserati Marv. He's really good. I know we need offensive linemen. I think, I don't know, I was listening to you were saying T. Higgins. If we can get T. Higgins, Mike Evans. Devontae Adams is a weird one. I think he's good. I do think he's going to cut because it looks like he wants the fuck out. Excuse me. Sorry, I didn't mean to say it. He wants the hell out of it.
The thing with Devontae is I don't want to give up a draft pick for him.
I know.
If it depends what it is, because I feel like the Raiders are going to want a first or some kind of trade like that. I kind of want the Raiders to win a few games, fall back in the draft. Maybe we slide up somewhere to 7. And if we want to trade out, then maybe you get him in the trade back and then you still make your pick in the first round. That's my favorite solution if we're getting him, but I really don't want him. I would rather.
Do you think we get a third and a fourth we trade? Because the Lazard, oh my, and Cobb, even the touchdown Cobb had was slow as hell.
I bet Adams is going to be a conditional pick. It'll probably be maybe a 4th this year and a conditional pick in 2025, or a 3rd round and a conditional pick. I don't want Devontae Adams. I think there's just too.
Think there's any way we might get a T. Higgins or Mike Evans and draft a receiver in the first round? Depending
That's
on
what I would hope to do. I want
totally
Coleman
down with from Florida State.
Keon Coleman.
He's 6'4". His catch radius is insane.
Yep.
And he's fast.
That's the guy I want in the draft. Short
and
of getting Marvin
that's
Harrison
what
Jr.
My deal would be T. Higgins and him, and then build the O line. Get Jonah Williams from Cincy. That would be my deal. Yeah, that's what I want.
Henry talking my language tonight. You've been ejected from the cockpit. All right, let's see who we got going. We got James joining the show. James, how you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm doing great. Robert's like Z Dick.
It's all right. Don't need you on the show. All right, Rory, join the show. How you doing, Rory?
Yeah. I was just thinking, I disagree that we should draft a new quarterback. I think I like Zach Wilson when he has good protection, when he actually has good players surrounding him, he balls out. I was watching the Bills game, I was stunned even with our defensive line. Josh Allen was getting so much better protected than him. I just think Zach Wilson, when they let him play and they don't stop him from balling out, that's what we saw. And when it matters most,
I hope we get to see more proof of concept of that, because it definitely feels like that's what it was. It was screw it, what do I have to lose? I'm just gonna let it rip. And now it's all right, well, why didn't you just do that all the time? Because it's clearly working. I would love to see him cook a little bit more. These last 4 weeks, just unleash him. Do whatever you can.
100%. I think these last weeks, I think he's gonna play better than normal. I think because he's making his case to be kept by the Jets or drafted by another team.
Sure.
And I don't know. I just think he's gonna play better lately. But I agree. I don't know about the next season when he's not in immediate danger of getting benched.
So do you think the Jets keep him for next year, or do you think there's a new quarterback coming in some capacity? Not necessarily in the first round, but maybe like in a mid-round
Maybe, yeah, in
capacity.
like the fourth or fifth, just a late round to see what happens. I also think Aaron Rodgers, I think he's going to get injured again. I don't know, having our entire season based on if a 40-year-old is going to stay healthy.
A
For
40-year-old that's coming off a major Achilles injury. That's like the only reason I sort of want to see Rodgers a little bit this year, like just to see what it looks like. I know he's not fully healthy, but like,
yeah,
I
definitely.
don't know.
Anyway,
Definitely
I love the
scares me.
show. See ya.
Thank you, dude. Rory, I appreciate the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. All right, let's go over to Little John. Little John, how are you doing tonight, dude? Oh, hold on, your audio. Just click the little microphone on there. Get your, it says guest has muted themselves. So it's probably on the screen itself. There should be like a little microphone.
How is that?
There you go. I got you loud and clear.
Hey, I'm 59. I'm born and raised in South Brooklyn, near Shea Stadium.
Oh, very cool.
I don't know if you guys lived near Shea Stadium back then.
No,
but
I'm in Jersey. I've been to Shea though. I haven't been to Citi Field yet, but I was at Shea when I was younger. My daughter's named Shea. Love it.
I moved away 30 years ago. I have not been to Citi Field, and I have not been to MetLife Stadium.
Well, MetLife Stadium sucks. It is absolutely miserable. It looks like a big air conditioning unit.
Oh goodness, I've been to Giant Stadium many times, but I'm just happy when the Jets win. That's all I want. If I was going to the Jet game, I do not want to pay to watch them lose for next year.
Yeah, no, it sucks, right? Like you kind of hope for the best future. Like I understand fans that want the tank because I've been there. I would very much I would love a top 5 pick. But if Zach's going to play the way he played this past week, I want to win every frigging game we can. That's what I want to see because that's where you build morale for next year. And I feel like building that up is more important than whatever player you're going to draft at 5 versus like 8, 9, 10.
I just don't agree. I want to win. Win.
Sure. No, well, that's what I'm saying. I would like to win. I'm not in like the tank boat necessarily.
Are they now Aaron and Zach in a controversy? Like Aaron wants Zach to lose?
No, I don't think that. I think Rodgers took Zach under his wing. I think he wants to see what's best for Zach. I just don't know if the relationship between Zach and the team is good enough to withstand whatever we witnessed this past week. Because we heard some rumors about a BYU or a Utah-based newspaper saying that the Jets and Zach have discussed about a trade in the offseason, and like then he goes out and does that. Like that it feels like there's too much smoke to the fire. And Robert Saleh had a press conference today. He was talking about how he didn't want to speak on private conversations that he has with players, which leads me to believe like, okay, that's definitely a true fact then. There's no way Zach's here. And now I'm just sitting here. What if that's true, then why the hell am I rooting for wins with Zach Wilson? Like, I guess I'm hoping for maybe a better draft pick, but I don't know what winning out with Zach Wilson nets us that wouldn't be better than just keeping the quarterback.
I don't know. Like I heard somebody say, one of those sources, he just played like F it, and he's like, what are they going to do? Bench me again?
Yeah. No, 100%. Little John, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. All right, we got Chris joining the show. Chris, how you doing tonight?
What's up?
Hanging in there. How'd you feel about the Jets win yesterday?
Yeah, I love that. Holy, we won a game, boys.
Oh, yeah. What do you think happens with Zach at the end of the year?
I think he's going to do better. Like, after that win, now his confidence is rising. And Aaron Rodgers is going to coach him throughout the year.
Right? Do you think we see Rodgers at all this year on the field?
No. He's done. Achilles torn.
Now, they're saying he might be coming back for Christmas Eve.
Oh.
Yeah, they're saying they're going to clear him, medically clear him.
What do you think about Tommy DeVito?
Tommy DeVito? Oh, man. I wish we could have had the success that he had initially. And now that Zach's kind of maybe, possibly, hopefully turning a corner, I don't know. Look, I want the Giants to win as many games as possible because that slides them down the draft board, helps us out a little bit, and I don't really have any ill feelings towards the Giants. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see, I guess. I haven't been watching their game tonight, so I don't know what's going on with them. I see Miami's tied 10-10 right now. Thank you, Chris, for the call. Let's go over to Joe. Joe, how you doing tonight, dude?
Hey, Ryan, what's up?
Dude, I'm hanging in there. How you feeling about this damn win?
I feel great.
You look good.
Hey, you see my new one?
Oh, there it is. Supporting the merch. Thank you, Joe.
I feel great. Listen, we're not going. Even if we win out all the games, I doubt we're going to make the playoffs. But like you said, it builds momentum into the next season. I'm very happy for Zach. I hope it's. There's always that one game that could turn somebody's career around, and they never look back. It happened with. I mentioned this several times. Dan Fouts. When Don Coryell was a Hall of Fame coach, took him under his wing because he was bad for 3 to 4 years, worse than Zach Wilson in every category. He went on to go have a Hall of Fame career. So you never know. Maybe this is the one game that might turn around Zach Wilson's career.
Dude, do you think we see more of Zach Wilson like this, or do you think he turns back into a pumpkin? I know it's kind of like a loaded question. You can't really answer it one way or the other. More hypothetically, I guess.
My gut feeling, I think this is a turning point. I do. You want to know why? He played like this in bad weather. He played like this with a third-string offensive line. I hate to say it.
Sure. He's got one good receiver right now. Maybe two good receivers between him and Conklin, or Garrett and Conklin.
Yeah, I mean, well, I still think they need a wide receiver 1B.
Sure.
We'll see, and maybe in the offseason they could get Devontae Adams. Who knows? But anyway, maybe through a trade. But that being said, I don't know. Usually I would say no. But something's telling me this might be it. This might be the turnaround game for him.
Oh, Joe's giving me hope. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Oh, we're going to go back over to Mike the barber. Mike, how you doing tonight, dude?
I want to get that. Hey, guys. I'm wondering, everybody wants Marvin Harrison Jr., but obviously the tackles are just the premium and the quarterbacks aren't anything. Is there anybody outside of that? I hear big things about the cornerback, the Alabama guy, Kool-Aid, they say.
So I would not go cornerback. Our defensive back field is just so strong with Sauce and Reed and Carter. I would not touch the secondary. Now, I would go heavy offense, whether it's wide receiver, whether it's offensive line. You can get me maybe on quarterback at some point. I don't really want to do it in the first round, but I like it. Like outside of Marvin Harrison Jr. and the top 2 tackles, I like J.C. Latham, the right tackle from Alabama. I think he would be interesting. I don't like the tackle from Georgia. His injuries do concern me. I haven't watched enough of the Oregon State kid. The Oregon State kid apparently is like tackle 4 or 5. From a wide receiver perspective, I really like Keon Coleman. There's part of me that would love to draft Keon Coleman in the first round and then draft his quarterback in like round 4 and have him sit for a little bit. But if you have Zach and you're maybe thinking maybe he could be the guy, I don't know. I don't think you're going to waste a pick on a quarterback at that point. But for me, it's wide receiver or offensive line in the first round, and that's pretty much it because I want to go all in with Rodgers. I don't want to, have a pick that would be sitting similar to like a Will McDonald this year.
Yeah, we could always trade back as well.
Sure. I wouldn't mind a trade back. This is one of those years that if you can recoup a second round pick, it would feel really good to have one pick in the second and a pick in the first round.
Yeah, I agree. Anything to help Aaron. Next year is it.
Mm-hmm. Do you think, what was I going to say? I got nothing. Mike, I love talking to you. Thank you for calling in. You've been ejected from the cockpit. I had a question. It just gone. Totally out of thin air. I've got Nick coming up, and then I've got Mutt Files. Excited to talk to both of you guys. Let's throw Nick on the line. Nick, how you doing tonight? Nice. All right, we got Mutt Files. Mutt Files, how you doing tonight, dude?
That was an interesting call there we just saw. What's up,
You
Ryan?
know what?
How are
When
you?
you're 12 years old and you don't have a pube to your name, that's what you got to do on TV, I guess.
Man, I just want to come in and say what's up.
It's all good. How you doing tonight, dude?
Right now, I'm just enjoying Miami. The little collapse starting already. Getting a little flustered against Tennessee in December. Right now, it's
Dude,
10-10, if you're curious on
I
score.
know I'm keeping an eye on the box score right now. I'm excited to actually like end this stream at some point and see what exactly is going on. I hear they're getting a lot of injuries tonight.
Yeah, people just going down.
Yeah.
But I saw you were talking to my brother earlier, though. Talking about CJ
Really?
Mosley.
No,
Yeah,
I didn't know that was your brother.
Smoke's my brother.
That's
my brother.
funny. He's like, I was talking to Mud Files. I was like, I don't know where you were talking to Mud Files, but that's fucking cool. Whatever.
Yeah, he's my older brother. That's why we were literally straight up talking about like, talking about like Mosley and all that stuff. Before I get into that, though, real quick, yeah. So people were talking about Zach. What happened? Where y'all at?
Yo, right? Like,
there's
a lot
no
of
one
people
else that's
talking
better on
smack.
our roster than him. Besides Rodgers.
Yeah.
Currently starting right now, though, besides Rodgers, there's no one else that's better than him. So there's no reason to bench him.
So, you know what? I was at a point where I thought Simeon should have been quarterback 2 in the Charger game because we brought him in during the Chiefs game or just before the Chiefs game. Zach has like this outstanding game. And then we're kind of in this holding formation of what's going to happen. And then Boyle is still sitting as the backup quarterback. And it's like I know Boyle's not the answer. I watched Boyle all through training camp. Clearly not the issue. Clearly not the solution. So why Simeon was not made number 2 to at least apply some pressure to Zach is where my irritation was. And when you got to a point where you're losing to the Raiders, you're losing to the Bills, and you're going through like this terrible stretch that we went on, you can't change the offensive coordinator because he's going to wind up being here for Rodgers. You're not getting rid of the head coach. You're not adding any wide receivers or offensive linemen at this point. So the only thing you could have changed was the quarterback. So I think at the very least, if you could submit that you probably were not going to make the playoffs, you know, either way. I mean, I don't know if it's such a hypothetical at that point, but I think there's value in seeing like, oh, it's not Zach. And there's some props that go to Salah in that regard, because I think Salah was really getting a lot of bullets thrown his way because it's like, wow, why are we consistently losing? It's like, well, why are you keep playing Zach? It's like, I'm playing Zach because he's the best quarterback. And that's what he's been telling us. And he was right. Zach is clearly the best quarterback on our roster.
Exactly. And like I told you last time when we talked, if anything, you ride him out. If he doesn't do well, if he continues to stink, guess what? You can draft a QB in the second round, or you can sign someone to free agency to be behind Rodgers, or hell, even like trade for Fields or something. Just do something like that. You don't have to touch Zach at all. You don't pick him up.
I don't think we're going to trade for
like
Fields. I don't think there's any way Douglas brings in Fields because that's a quarterback he passed on to sign or to draft Zach Wilson. I think it's more likely that Zach stays or we draft a young kid to sit behind Rodgers and then we bring in some vet backup like a Brissett or a Minshew or something along those lines.
Right.
Now I want to get your opinion on CJ Mosley because your brother was saying he wanted to move off of Mosley. Is that where you're at too?
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like you a little bit more than your brother, Mud Files.
I heard what you said before that you were saying to restructure him, right?
I would restructure him. I think you saved $10 million on restructuring him too, and then you'd have him for 2024, and then maybe you eat whatever cap hit it would be in 2025 at that point, or you just keep him until Rodgers is done. If Rodgers wants to play 2 more seasons, if he's playing 2024 and 2025, keep Mosley for those 2 seasons. I would try to structure everything as 2 seasons, because at the very least, if Rodgers hangs it up, then if maybe Mosley decides, hey, it's not worth hanging around that next year, I'm going to hang it up too. Same thing with like a John Franklin Myers. I wouldn't mind restructuring Reed or Conklin, keeping them a little bit longer too. But Mosley's someone that in a Super Bowl or bust season next year, I think it would be silly to move off him. It's not like he's been a liability, or at least an excessive one in any capacity. This defense is legit.
I remember 2 years ago when the heck everyone wanted CJ Mosley gone, but everyone forgets on how well he played in Baltimore and even now. Whoa, hello.
Whoa, sorry.
Who the heck was it? Where the heck did he come from? He just came out of nowhere. I was like, oh, hello. When I change?
It's all good. It's all good.
But nah, when it comes to that, though, Mosley, how can I say, everyone says you need, obviously, the quarterback, but you need the quarterback of the defense. That's what the middle linebacker is. That's what CJ Mosley is. That's how I see it, though. And he's very underrated right now when it comes to this defense, because when you sit there and think of who's playing well, Quinn Williams, Sauce Gardner, heck, freaking Jordan Whitehead, DJ Reed, you don't think of CJ. But if
Yeah,
CJ's
CJ's
not
like
there
almost like
commanding
a
the middle of the
constant,
field,
right? He's
who's gonna do it? Who's behind him?
I bet
He was trying to tell him to put
Quincy.
Will McDonald at middle linebacker, Quincy
What
Williams.
about
Quincy,
Sherwood?
maybe,
What happened to
but Will
Sherwood?
McDonald, why? He's an edge rusher. He's a
That
pure
doesn't
edge
make any
rusher,
sense to
no?
me. I don't. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't think the Will McDonald stuff makes a whole lot of sense. Like maybe in a 3-4, maybe he's like an outside linebacker in some kind of capacity, but he's like he's not that big either. He's definitely a smaller
No,
dude. Like he feels like
when
an
we
edge rusher.
drafted him, we brought him in for his edge rushing talent. So the way he came off, though, that freakish like bend type move he can do, and he's shown flashes of that throughout the season. Not to serve in the middle of the field. If anything, I want to draft a middle linebacker. If anything, because who do we have? There? Just Sherwood, and that's it for middle
Well, we
linebacker.
got Zaire Barnes that we drafted last year in the 4th round. Is that right? 3rd, 4th round? 3rd round?
Something like that.
You got Sherwood. You got Surratt, who the Jets seem pretty high on. I mean,
I forgot about Surratt.
You know what? The Jets are actually pretty decent at developing linebackers. Like shockingly, that was a position that I thought was going to be weak going into this year. But then you look at Cashman, what he's doing in Houston, he's looking real good. Like all of a sudden, if he could have stayed healthy, he would have been a good option for us as well.
Saleh can coach defense. He can produce guys. Like look what the Niners had. The Niners had so many revolving pieces when people went down. Like it looks like nothing changed with that defense. It's the same thing with us. Even when we didn't have DJ Reed and Sauce, what happened? We still locked down Philly with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith.
Dude.
We still locked them down, and that was with our backup corners. That's why with that I'm not worried about. With
Now,
what you were
what do you
talking
think
about earlier
happens
with
with
the
Zach?
draft,
Is Zach back next year?
if he continues to play and somehow we can get to 9-8, or at least 8-9, I can see it. Yeah.
Now, what
Because
if he plays
in the
well,
beginning of
but
the
we
whole
just
thing,
lose?
Rodgers was supposed to start, not Zach. This was not supposed to be Zach's year to play.
I
That's
hope
the
the
thing.
fan base can kind of let the the grinder go from Zach and just kind of let him be. Let's see what winds up happening. I just want to ride out 4 games. I want to see more games like we did this past week because that was at least entertaining to watch. Mutt Files, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. All right, we're going to go back over to Little John. Then we got Jake calling in. Little John, how you doing again?
Good, boss man. I hope you don't mind me calling back again.
No, that's all right. What's on your mind?
I wanted to give a shout out to my little neighborhood in Brooklyn, in South Brooklyn, there off of Belt Parkway, Garrettson Beach, Brooklyn. I haven't been back there in like 30 years. I just wanted to say hello to my beach rats, if you don't mind me saying that. We used to call each other that.
Nice.
But let's go Jets, and thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. Little John, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. All right, let's go over to Jake. Jake, you ready? Welcome to the cockpit. I'm going to take the timer off because I want to hear what you have to say. That's a nice haircut, by the way. I think you look good. Looking sharp.
Thank you.
What do you think about Zach Wilson? He's a franchise quarterback now? I know you're going to say yes. Talk to me.
Are we back to week 1 again? Like
Yes.
after the kickoff?
Yes.
Are we back to this all over again?
Absolutely. Blinders, baby.
So is it possible we can hire those independent neurologists to test for concussions and do this with every single Jet fan? Because I think it's fairly appropriate now to do that. Fairly appropriate.
Jake, I want to ask you this because it's purely a hypothetical. More times than not, he has turned back into a pumpkin. Let's say the final 4 games, we go, I don't know, 2-2, 3-1, something like that. Zach looks good. Is he coming back next year?
How high is the draft pick we're getting for him?
Well, okay. So let's say it's the Trey Lance trade. It's a 4th round pick.
1,000%. 1,000% I'm trading him. 1,000%. Right now he went from not even worth some Skittles to now a 4th round pick. That's a no-brainer. No-brainer.
Now, if let's say it's a 5th, like let's move the would you rather kind of scale.
Yes. If it's like a 7th, maybe a 7th, whatever, but like a 4th or 5th, that's a valuable. 4th round picks today are getting you like potential like Pro Bowl players that if you're smart enough to not have drafted, which
for
we
4
need.
years too. Like that's a controllable player for 4 years, as opposed to Zach in one final year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm even being semi-sarcastic because I'm really at this point just being like, I just want him off the roster because look, you don't think it's a coincidence that he played well from all the reports that they're going to trade him. So clearly he's going to do his best to play well for himself. Fine, go ahead and do that. I mean, he's a selfish son of a bitch in the first place to do this now than before. But at the end of the day, the writing's
I'd
on the
hold him
wall.
hostage. I don't look. I think if he balls out the rest of the year, I think if a pissed off Zach Wilson being stuck behind Aaron Rodgers for another year, I don't know if I'd make him automatically QB2, but I think I'd bring in someone like a vet to compete with him. Like, hey, you got to earn quarterback too. We're not giving you any free passes anymore. I don't know. I could see Zach being here next year. I really can.
Well, see, listen to what you just said. You said a quarterback to compete with him. No,
Sure.
I'm bringing a veteran in to be like, he's taking your job, and you better play to dear life knowing that he's going to take your job. Like Gardner
Sure. Well,
Minshew comes in, Gardner Minshew comes in, he's taking his job. That's signed, sealed, delivered. But right now, the Colts would be insane to let him go in the first place. Listen, let's talk about what the NFL is this year. Because Tom Brady even said that there's so much it's not the same as it used to be. This is the year of the backup. Oh, yeah. This has been the year of how many starting quarterbacks have gone? Rodgers was the beginning of the domino effect.
Rodgers,
now it's
Cousins, Burrow,
Watson,
Pickett. Herbert's going to get knocked out now. Yeah,
well,
dude.
Pickett doesn't matter. He's a terrible quarterback.
He was listed as a starter. What are you going to do?
Terrible. He's terrible. He's a fun story for Pittsburgh. He is a 5th round pick quarterback.
I agree. I don't know about 5th round, but I agree he was definitely not a 1st round pick.
I'll be kinder, whatever. But that's the reality. So right now you're seeing how valuable the backup quarter. If Josh McCown was still playing, he'd be worth a valid. He'd be talented somewhere, probably starting and maybe win. He actually probably take us to the playoffs. I know I'm going crazy.
I kind of want McCown as in our offensive staff in some capacity. I would love to bring in some type of offensive assistant head coach or something that shakes up the staff a little bit.
Chad Pennington. Make Chad Pennington our
quarterback coach. I would love Chad. Do you think he would actually do it?
I'm
shocked they haven't. I'm shocked they haven't tried that.
I think listen, Josh McCown was almost a head coach for Houston. I mean, you can't say that these guys with minimal experience or at least have that quarterback mind. Plus, Chad Pennington's been on television shows and podcasts.
He's smart as hell, Rhodes Scholar and everything.
He's a cerebral guy. He understands. Ryan, I did want to ask you one question. Maybe I came very showing this late tonight. You were getting grilled about Zach's decision to not play. What was your mindset into that?
I'm sorry, say that again.
You said it was all over social media that apparently you agreed with Zach Wilson saying I'm not going on the field, his reluctancy to play, and people were why would Ryan say that? I'm what did he even talk about? And then I saw the clip and you were leaving a movie theater saying that you just heard about Zach. Yeah. So,
yes.
So do you really believe that he was making the right choice or at the time?
No. I'll give you the context for it. So I get out of the movie theater. I see a tweet that was there's reports saying that Zach's reluctant to start. And the video that I put out was you got to be kidding me. Of course it's the Jets. We got the quarterback who's clearly the best quarterback on our roster. He doesn't want to go back in the game because we don't have any offensive line. We got no weapons. The offense sucks. We stink. We're just that's more where I'm coming from. But I don't blame Zach. I totally get. I would feel the same way if I got jerked around this year the way that he got jerked around. Clearly he's better than Boyle. Clearly he's better than Simeon. And he was made the scapegoat and benched because we can't get rid of the offensive coordinator because he's best friends with Rodgers. We can't add any more wide receivers because Douglas isn't doing it. We can't add any more offensive linemen because Douglas isn't doing it. And Salah's getting all these shots fired at him, and he's saying, I'm playing the best quarterback, and no one's believing him. So, I don't know. I know how I would feel if I was in the same position as Zach, though you can't say that. You can't, tell people I'm not going to play again because then your ass should be out the door. I think... Right. I understand the feeling from an empathy perspective, and I think it's actually better for us if he's not going to be on this team long term. It's better for us to look as incompetent as all hell to hopefully get a higher draft pick, similarly to what happened with Sam Darnold, where it was okay, the Jets can't do anything. We can make this number 3 overall pick a stud. Let's give him a 2nd round pick and some additional picks. We can get a 3rd round pick for Zach Wilson because we look incompetent. Shit, I guess that's better. I don't know.
Well,
But yeah, I feel for Zach. I do in that capacity. I think he was made the scapegoat for a lot of other issues.
Yeah, but Ryan, you have to look at it from this standpoint. Then you go right back to the Elijah Moore issue last year when he hated Zach Wilson. We all know he hated Zach Wilson. Did he have to make a whole scene and say, I'm not playing and get deactivated? No. Then he ended up getting traded. We got a second round pick because he's talented, although he's not really doing much with Joe Flacco. So you're kind of going back to that same argument all over again. And it's like, dude, just shut your mouth and just play. And honestly,
that's a different.
How do you explain that to the defense that's busting their ass out there trying to be a Super Bowl caliber defense?
That's why I think you had to bench him.
Play, like, suck it up and deal with it, buddy. Like, sorry. Like, you've gone through 2 offensive coordinators and you can't get it done. I don't believe honestly, I don't believe all this phony baloney crap. They're like, oh, they just opened the book for him this weekend. I'm like, what do you know? This is what happens. And I'm going to be very honest about Zach Wilson. I think, honestly, Zach Wilson is the kind of player where you need Jigsaw to kidnap his family and say their family's going to die if you don't play well in this game, and then he shows up. That's what it seems like every time.
That's what I want. I wanted Simeon as quarterback too, because I feel like that would have applied pressure to Zach. I feel like he hasn't had the pressure against him, and it's weird. There's like odd situations where it's like, okay, a 2-minute drill, for whatever reason, he's good at it. Whenever he's playing up tempo, like when he doesn't have to think and he can kind of react and use his athletic gifts, that's when he's at his best. It's just the stuff between the ears when he's not throwing the ball, he's not pulling the trigger on like, okay, that guy's open, like throw the ball, just make the decision. There's enough on tape to be like, I understand people wanting to be off of Zach Wilson, but when I look at everything that's gone wrong this year, I don't think Zach's one of the top 3 reasons. I think he's further down the list of things that went wrong. I don't know. It's interesting to see what's going to wind up happening, and I would prefer him back as quarterback 3. I'll be honest. I think his upside is going to be higher than whoever you have as quarterback 3. And the only thing you really got to decide is like, okay, what draft pick are we being offered? Is it worth it to move him? Or do we like his upside more than the 53rd person on the roster? Because that's what you'd have to do. You can't make him like, a practice squad guy or anything like that because he'd get poached. But is he worth holding on to over the 53rd guy on the roster? And it depends, right? Like there's some good guys that we cut this year that if you're not going to see Zach again, maybe it's not even worth having him on there. I don't know. It depends how the relationship is, I think, behind the scenes.
I think the plan next year, and it's Rodgers and a veteran quarterback. I think the problem is psychologically the kid is so damaged from everything which has happened with Mark Sanchez and Sam Darnold that I think right now a change of scenery is all he can hope for. And I don't think a lot of teams are going to be racing to get him still. I think the problem is we're a fan base that is just like any little victory, we're jumping for joy and Super Bowl and all this stuff. I hate saying that about our fan base, but we are. We just jump to joy in such little things.
We haven't had a winning season. I've been covering this damn team for 5 years. I don't got a winning season under this YouTube channel yet.
Yeah, we've got nothing. We've got nothing.
I'll take little successes.
What's that?
I'll take little successes.
We'll take little successes, but that shows you just like what a lack of of a serious franchise we are. Like we're just not a serious franchise, and and I think that right now, like we've got other problems. Like we have a turf issue that like is going to destroy half the players at this point going forward. The Giants and the Jets. Also, let's not think about us. I mean, also we may have an out of the MetLife Stadium in a couple years. You don't think that if Woody
2025, I think, right?
Johnson wants to keep the team or finally sells the team, we can build a stadium in Queens or something like that. I would consider doing that. I think that will change some of the fan base's interest in even going to game. I think nobody wanted to go to the game yesterday. Period. Like I saw
the weather played a huge factor. The terrible season is a factor.
This shit. Nobody wants it. Like Tailgate Joe was like, I'm not lowering my cost for my tailgates. We have a great time. I'm like, okay, dude. So then you're gonna get no one to come to your tailgates. It's like sane people. We're not stupid fans. Look, I'm getting off topic with that. My point is,
but what I'll say is, in Tailgate Joe's defense, there's a cost and the expense of having the people there that he pays and everything like that, and you're still getting the same experience from him whether or not we win the game. Like I'll be honest, the tailgate with Tailgate Joe for the Charger game was so much better than the actual game itself.
That's everything, man. Every tailgate's more fun than the game.
I'd rather pay $65 to go hang out with Tailgate Joe, eat food, drink beer, and like enjoy myself.
I think that's the smarter way to go right now. I mean, it's like you might as well because
watch Red Zone in the parking lot. Don't even go in. Like let's load the parking lot and just not go in.
I've been watching Red Zone every week, and honestly,
Sure.
I get more excitement knowing that it's like, oh, actually, Ryan Leaf Jr. is in the red zone. Good, I get to actually see what happens. It'll be a punt or something, but hey, let's see what happens at this point.
Oh, Jake, you are just a shining star of saltiness all the time. I love you, brother. Thank you so much for the call. Been ejected from the cockpit. Ah, too much negativity, Jake. Too much negativity. All right, who we got? We got Henry joining the show. Nope, no, we don't. Get out of here, Henry. Sorry. I recognize that room. Not happening. Let's go back to the chat. We'll talk a little bit in here. Dakota says Miami may not even reach 20 tonight. It's a scrub team. Scrub team. Harlan comes in and says, Yeti Wilson. No team will give Becton a big contract. He was out the last 2 seasons with injuries. So I would let Becton test the market or offer him less than Austin Jackson got. Austin Jackson got 3 years, $36 million. I would offer Becton like either 1 year, $12 million, or 3 years, I don't know, $24 million, something like that. If he wants to have, some more guarantees and a longer term deal, I think he'll want to prove himself more. I don't think Becton's played well this year, though. He's been struggling. I want to see him healthy, though. Andrew comes in. Andrew says, look at the game on Sunday. The first half, they ran on first and second downs, then asked him to pick up the first down, 3rd and long, when the D knows it's a pass. That's what I've been bitching about all season long. And it's been, hey, we're going to throw the ball on first down, which is great, but we're going to get an incompletion because no one can catch the ball. And then, all right, well, we better get some yards instead of no yards. And the defense knows, sure as shit, 2nd and 10, here comes a run right up the gut, and we stop that, and now we're in 3rd and long. So, I'm with you, Andrew. I'm with you. Got to be able to, I like the what was it, 5 first downs in a row we threw the ball. Jets Fuel says, Hill is injured, maybe don't play or won't play next week. Honestly, I hope he plays. I hope he plays and I hope we lock his ass down. Dylan says, Zach will have his first back-to-back great game this week. Dude, if he can have back-to-back great games, then you'll start getting people believing, especially against Miami. Like, Miami's got a pretty decent defense. Team's still fast, even without Tyreek Hill. That team is entirely different without Tyreek, though. It's going to be interesting to see how that ends up. Randilla says, the fans were happy in the rain. Winning does that. Dude, every person that I talked to that went to the game, sat through the rain, was ecstatic to see what they saw. And they earned it. We had a few guys call in that said they left at halftime when it was 0-0. And oh, man. Feel bad for you guys. All gas, no gas comes in, says, people may be mad about hurting the draft pick, but winning makes a much more attractive free agent destination. Yeah, and not to mention, you start feeling a lot more confident in the offensive coordinator and the offensive play calling in general when you start getting some of these guys back. Or when you start having some of the success. Like, regardless of where we pick, the idea that this team can win and win meaningful games is far more important than the draft pick itself, because you got to look at how impactful will that draft pick be for the 1 year of trying to win the Super Bowl. Like, is the receiver going to be good enough year one? I think you can argue they will be. The offensive lineman, sometimes it takes a few years. It may not be worth going offensive lineman that early if you're trying to go all in on Rodgers. I don't know. Still got to make the right pick. But I want to win. I do. I just don't care if we lose. That's more my thought. It's like, higher draft pick, cool. If I can see good football, I will take that all damn day. Mufile says, let the fall of Miami start tonight. Also, you think Rodgers will play next week. If we beat Miami, it depends how we beat Miami. If we beat Miami. If Zach balls out when we beat Miami, then I think Zach should start Christmas Eve. And I think if you want to activate Rodgers as quarterback too, that's okay. But the goal would be to probably not have Rodgers start if Zach is continuing to play well. Dakota, Giants winning tonight. Stick it, Green Bay fans. Hopefully Titans roll on offense with big plays. Are the Giants winning right now? Is that what's going on? Wow, 21-13, 10 minutes left in the game. Interesting. Phil says, we at least need one of the top 2 offensive linemen to build the wall. I don't think you need one of the top 2. The top 2 are going to be gone in the top 5, and I am less confident that that is actually going to happen for us, like picking in the top 5 at this point. If Zach continues to play or plays 75% of what he showed yesterday, the Jets are going to win probably a game or 2 more. They should beat Washington. They should beat New England, I would think. New England's got a really good defense, so maybe we hit a road bump there. I would love to play spoiler on New England's season, though. Like, if we wind up losing to them and then they end up like getting a... I would love for them... I want the Patriots to win enough that they can't get a quarterback. Or no, screw it. You know what? Drafting quarterbacks hard. Developing quarterbacks even harder. I hope they get the quarterback, and I hope he sucks. Waste 3 years in purgatory. That's what I want. Screw that. Carmelo says, Zach Wilson, 311 yards, 0 interceptions, 0 fumbles, versed Miami. G-Dubs has 130 yards. Your lips, God's ears. Harry W. says, I want to win out. I'm with you. Would like to win. Dakota says, scratching the surface at the home tonight against 4-8 piss poor Tennessee Titans team. We are beating Miami Sunday, showing them what the fuck is up. I hope so. Dude, if Miami loses this game, they drop to 9-4, and then we come in, they're either going to be pissed off trying to beat us, or we're going to lay some wood on them. Smack them around a little bit. We got a new swagger right now. Matthias says, Miami, lucky they are losing at the moment. They're lucky they're only down by 3. Dakota says, 24-27 next week in Miami, holding them ass wipes to under 20. We improve to 6-8. Stay red hot, my prediction. How do we hold them to under 20 points when you predicted 24-27? Come on. Andrew says, Alt is the best pick. He's plug and play day 1. I agree. I just don't know if we're going to get up that high, and I don't think we're going to trade up to go get him. I think he's going to go 4 or 5. I don't think it's going to be an option for us, unfortunately. Forever Ron says, Zach doing great on rollouts, using his mobility, opened up the defense to need more of that. I loved how he talked about setting up the edge rusher that came off on the Garrett Wilson, like pro day throw type play where Becton was beat. Zach knew Becton was getting beat, and he's like, I'm going to bait him into this, and now I'm going to spin out. And it's like, dude, that's something only Zach can do. All gas, no gas. I don't believe in high draft investments in offensive line. A perfectly middling line plus amazing skill positions wins. I think there's a really high likelihood we wind up going wide receiver in this draft and giving Rodgers a weapon that he wasn't able to have in Green Bay. I think we're just going to load it up. Now, it depends who's there. I mean, if Keon Coleman's gone, if Neighbors is gone, if Marvin Harrison Jr. is obviously going top 3, then maybe you make some other type of decision. You don't go that route. But I would like receiver or offensive lineman in year 1. Yeti says, Schweitzer back next year. I think he has a 1-year deal. I don't know what his deal is. Let's see. West. How do you spell his last name? S-C-H. There he is. So we have him under contract for next year. So we have him for 2024, and then he'll be a free agent. We've got a few void years on him. His contract voids in 2025. So I would think he'll stay under contract. He'll be a backup offensive lineman for us next year. Mutt Vials, crazy playoff hopes. Jets win out. Miami loses out. Bills lose 2 of 4 games, and we make the wild card. Yo. I don't think Miami's losing out. Although, heck, you know what? They got the Jets, they got Dallas, they got Baltimore, and then they got the Bills. It's not an easy stretch. So we need Buffalo to win against Miami the final week of the season, but lose like other games. Dude, stranger shit has happened. Simple Eats says, love how much we saw Nick Bawden in the game. I think he had some real nice blocks in both the pass and run game. Keep using him. My biggest issue with Bawden is that we weren't using him. Like, we were using him for like 5 snaps a game. Why keep a guy on the roster if you're only going to use him that little? So if you're going to roster him, at least use him. Yet he says, thank God my phone saved Schweitzer on the autosave. Yeah, I have no idea how to pronounce, or I have no idea how to spell his name without seeing it. Dakota was saying 24-17, not 27-14, 24. My bad, Ryan. Damn right. Hold him under 20 points. Let's have it happen. Andrew says, if we're all in next year, he's worth moving up for. I guess there's some argument for that. It depends what you got to give up. Like, are you coming up from 8 and giving up the 2025 first for a tackle? I'm not there. I'm not on that level. Simple Eat says, I wouldn't be opposed to getting a tight end in the first, but only if he is a stud pass catcher. We get Devontae or Mike Evans or someone like that in free agency. And we get Devontae as a trade or Mike Evans or someone like that in free agency. So I would be all right with tight end. The Jets had Mike Mayer high on their list this past year in the first round, so it's entirely possible that they will take a tight end and they like Brock Bowers. I think Conklin has done really well. I think Ruckert has done really well. I don't know if a top 10 tackle or a top 10 tight end helps us the same way a tackle or a receiver could. But if this kid Bowers is generational, I'm good with it. He seems to be the only tight end that I've seen worth going after. All Gas, No Gas says, imagine Garrett lined up beside a game breaker like Devontae Adams would be unreal. So I'm not going to be upset with Devontae Adams if we get him. He's just not my top route for a wide receiver. I want someone that provides a different size profile. Like, I like Mike Evans if he's available. I like T. Higgins if he's available. You know, Devontae's probably 3 or 4 on my list just because you'd have to give up an asset. Like, what are you giving up for Devontae? That's what I need to know. His contract isn't terrible if he's traded. But what are you giving up for him? All right. Boys and girls, we have reached the end of our show. You know, I had my little pinned poll question in there, and I want to see if any one of you guys ended up going over to the new show over on the Roundtable Sports Network. Let's see. Jets Talk sent me. Oh, that dude. Okay, we got, all right. We got 4 people that went over there. Hit the subscribe button. Said Jets Talk sent me. 4 people. That's it. 4 people wanted something free. Let's see. We got that dude 19. We got John Paul O'Keefe. Sorry. First, great first show. Oh, no, that's a Buffalo fan. That's not a Jets Talk. There's only 3 guys over there. 3. Jay Nunes and Aurora. So one of you 3 is going to win something. Let's do this. Live chat. Give me a number 1 through 3 right now. First number that pops up, 1 through 3. Oh, sorry, 1 through 4. We're going to get Andrew in there. We got 4 people. 1 through 4. Give me a number 1 through 4. Let's see what happens. 2. Jay Nunes. I filtered it by new. And I skipped over the Buffalo fan. Jay Nunes, reach out to me on social media, jetstalk247@gmail.com. I'll get you a shirt. Send it out your way. I appreciate you guys tuning in and hanging out. If you guys want to help me out, I'm hosting that Roundtable 3 and Out show every Monday, 7:30 to 8:30. Hopefully getting it to grow. Another stage in a potential YouTube career for Ryan. So we'll see where that ends up going. Still not monetized yet over there. So if you hit that subscribe button, it goes a long way. Boys and girls, it was a lot of fun hanging out with you tonight. This is Jets Talk signing off. JETS.
Look at the speed of Brees Hall. Brees like Remember him!